Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Danny, and I'm the event planner for the New York Reactor. Before we begin, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Useful links will be shared in the chat. This session is recorded and will be available on demand in 24 to 48 hours on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. Which brings us to today's session. It will run for approximately 1 hour with times for questions throughout. I will now turn it over to our speakers for introductions.
Thank you. So today I'm really excited to share with you Fabric Data Factory, but more importantly, what's new and roadmap. My name is Wei Xiong. I'm the Director of Product for Data Integration at Microsoft. So before we start, what I really want to share is that we really could not have got to all these product innovations without you. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone in the community for working with us on customer calls, sharing your product feedback on ideas, and many more. And because of you, right, we are really excited to share with you a lot of these product innovations. Now, before we get into the specific, I'm sure many of you have seen this slide multiple times. Microsoft Fabric is really the unified data platform for AI transformation. And of course, it has different workloads in it. Now, for the purpose of today's call, we're going to focus on Data Factory and share with you all the exciting things that's happening in the Data Factory space. Now, what is Data Factory in Microsoft Fabric? For many of you who do not know what it is, well, we brought the best of Azure Data Factory, which is enterprise data integration in Azure, with the best of self-service data preparation with Power Query. We brought it together and delivered it as a single SaaS offering in Microsoft Fabric. We call it Data Factory in Microsoft Fabric, or Fabric Data Factory in short. And if we dive down specific to what is Data Factory in Fabric, one of the things that's really important is for any data integration tool, or ETL tool in short, having the best-in-class connectivity is really important. And today we have a huge hundreds of connectors that allows you to connect to your favorite enterprise data sources, bring data, transform the data, but more importantly, be able to then land it in the data destination of your choice. Whether it's a data warehouse, whether it's a lake house, whether it is data systems that's in other clouds. Data Factory and Fabric support both data sources that is within the Microsoft cloud, but also outside of the Microsoft cloud as well. Now, but most importantly, we break this down into a few steps, and this is how we're going to organize the presentation today, from data movement to orchestration to transformation. And all of this in Fabric is AI-powered, meaning we look at and explore what are the AI-powered experiences that will enable you to be more effective and productive. And so if we dive deeper down into, well, if you get into Fabric and you're experiencing Data Factory for the first time, from a data movement perspective, we have copy job. And what copy job is really a simplified way for you to do data ingestion without you having to ever create a pipeline or a data flow. It just works, right? It allows you to point to the source that you want to pull data from and the destination where you want to write data to. And copy job will just do it for you reliably and with high performance. Now, for many of you that came from the Azure Data Factory product, there is pipeline, and so the same pipeline that's in Azure Data Factory is now in Fabric. And more importantly, Fabric pipelines, or Fabric data pipelines in short, allows you to orchestrate data. It provides you with a rich set of event-based triggers as well as schedule-based triggers that allows you to do your data orchestration, but also kickstart the pipeline whenever you need it. Now, from an orchestration perspective, we have code-free, meaning you could drag and drop your data orchestration steps, which we call activities in pipeline, very easily. Or you could have code first. We brought to market Apache Airflow job, but more importantly, our serverless Apache Airflow runtime allows you to run your Airflow DAGs efficiently, reliably, and securely. Now, data transformation is really important because not only do you want to move the data from your source to your destination, you want to be able to transform them, and you want to be able to transform them at enterprise scale. Now, Dataflow Gen2 is really our data transformation engine for you to do this in a code-free way. And in fact, the Dataflow Gen2 engine continues to evolve, right? Delivering on a lot of the feedback that you have shared with us. Now, and of course, from a code-first data transformation perspective, Fabric has one of the best serverless Spark runtime to get together the native execution engine, but more importantly, allow you to write Spark run code, whether it's Python code or any code, right? And express this in the notebook and run this at scale. And you can orchestrate the notebook using pipelines in Data Factory. And so we're going to move today in this presentation from data movement to orchestration to transformation. And we're going to share with you some of the kind of innovations that we have made and delivered in the context of AI-powered intelligence. Now, let us start with connectivity. Today, we have hundreds of built-in Microsoft connectors that allows you to connect the data that's in the Microsoft Cloud and outside of the Microsoft Cloud. Now, for many of the partners that work with us, they have worked with us to build many of these connectors. And these connectors are also available to you in Fabric Data Factory. Now, one of the things that's top of mind and that you have shared with us in, customer advisory board ideas, in a lot of the customer calls that we had, including at community user group meetups and so on and so forth, is Azure Key Vault integration. And so we're really excited to bring to you public preview for Azure Key Vault integration that allows you to store all your credentials within Azure Key Vault and be able to leverage these secrets, if you will, within Fabric whenever you create a connection. Now, we're really excited that right now this capability is available in preview. Definitely try it out and share with us your feedback. Now, the next thing that comes top of mind is whenever you move data from your source to your destination, you want to move this securely, but more importantly, you want to be able to connect the data sources behind a firewall. And so VNet Gateway is a GA capability. Now, we're really excited that VNet Gateway now is available for pipelines, copy jobs, and database mirroring. And we'll continue to bring the number of data sources that can be connected via VNet Gateway in the next few months. Now, there's a really exciting connectors roadmap. What is available today, you see on the left, this is just a subset of what's available in Fabric Data Factory. Lots are coming across pipelines, across copy jobs, and Dataflow Gen2. Now, next, we're going to move on into data movement. And as for many of you that are familiar with Azure Data Factory, copy activity has enabled you to move petabyte data, right, securely and reliably over the years. And in fact, of course, today, whether it is from megabytes to gigabytes to terabytes to petabytes, copy activity continue to be able to enable you to move data securely and reliably. Now, one of the things that we brought into preview, now GA, which is we continuously challenge ourselves on how we can simplify data movement that allows you to do not just batch data movement, but be able to do incremental data movement, for example, leveraging change data capture, or be able to do real-time data movement as well. And so copy job right now in GA is the ability to say, well, I might just want to move data and I don't want to create a pipeline. I don't want to create a data flow. And so copy job is now a first-class item that you can create in your Fabric workspace that just simplify data movement. Amazing. Now, more importantly, whether you're using copy activity, copy job, or Dataflow Gen2, or any of our mirroring capability, we allow you to connect the data that is on premises and data that is in different clouds as well. And so we really want to work with you to continuously push what's possible with high scale data movement. And this is just the beginning. And so with that, I just want to share with you what copy jobs is and give you a quick demo for those that have not seen it. Let's roll the video.
The first feature I want to highlight is securely pulling secrets directly from an Azure Key Vault, making credential management seamless within Fabric. I've already set up a connection to my Key Vault, and my Azure Blob Storage connection requires an access key. Instead of hard coding it, I'll navigate to my configuration settings and click on the key button next to authentication. From here, I'll simply select my Key Vault reference and secret name, and that's it. Now we can easily manage sensitive credentials in Fabric. Now let's see how we can perform incremental data loads, allowing near real-time updates whenever there's a change. Let me show you how to enable incremental data loading with copy job. I have already created a new copy job, and I have some sales data on a SQL server behind a firewall, and I want to avoid full loads every time. I'll create a new connection to my SQL server. After entering the server name and connection name, you'll see that I have a field to select my VNet data gateway. Copy job now supports copying data behind a virtual network, so I'll go ahead and select my VNet data gateway, enter my authentication username and password, and proceed. After filling out the connection details, I'll select the database and tables I want to copy over. Then, for this example, I'll set the destination as another SQL database. For data movement, I'll choose incremental copy over batch by specifying the watermark column for each table. On the next screen, I'll see a summary, and I can also adjust the frequency of each run, and I'll change this to run every 5 minutes. Once we proceed, the copy job from my SQL server behind a firewall to the SQL database begins, with an initial snapshot of the tables copied in seconds. After that, only changes are transferred, saving both time and resources. For instance, if I go to my SQL server and insert a couple of rows to the customers table, only those 2 rows will be copied into the next run. And going back to my copy job, I can confirm that those 2 rows have been incrementally loaded in. If I want to edit the refresh rate, I can always go to settings and adjust the load rate at any time, and changes will be propagated over immediately.
Same time, it shows you how we integrated Azure Key Vault with the connections that you can create within Fabric Data Factory. Now, from a data movement roadmap perspective, what is available today? Now, whether you're creating the copy job from the UI, leveraging public APIs to automate the creation of the copy job, or leveraging this as part of your CI/CD process, all this is available today. Now, we'll continuously add new connectors to copy job, and we're going to get VNet data gateway support in copy job to GA. Now, what is coming soon, in fact, we announced this at the Build conference this week, is the preview of native support for change data capture without you having to specify your watermark column, and be able to leverage some of this change data capture capabilities available in some of the data sources. Now, we hear it loud and clear that, well, besides just copy job, you want to be able to orchestrate copy job as part of pipeline. So that's something that we're looking into as part of the product innovations in the next few months. Now, the other thing we hear a lot is when you use copy job in the context of a CI/CD process, if you will, you want to be able to integrate with variable libraries. Now, we're going to continuously bring additional connectors to the copy activity and copy job. Now, next, we're going to move into transformation. And before I get into transformation, I think one thing we wanted to get everyone up to speed, and you might be already an expert in this, is Power Query. Now, today, Power Query meets end users where they work. It's available in Excel, Power BI, Power Apps, and Dynamics 365. Now, it always warms my heart to be able to connect with a hugely passionate community that's continuously showcasing all the possible data preparation capabilities in Power Query. Huge thank you. And more importantly, and most importantly, is Power Query allows you to do easy data preparation, and it provides you with an easy data preparation experience that today is used by millions of users. Now, one thing that we continuously look at as we drive the next evolution of Power Query is AI-powered ETL. How can we allow you to interact with Power Query to already be able to help you be productive in some of these everyday tedious tasks, and use AI, right, to power a lot of these ETL experiences. Now, data flows in Fabric, or data flows generation Fabric, is really Power Query at enterprise scale. It is based on Power Query, and more importantly, it is built based on Fabric Compute, which means it provides you with high speed, high scale, scalable transformation at enterprise scale. And most importantly, it is AI powered with Copilot. Now, one thing that we hear loud and clear from the community is incremental refresh in data flows. Right now, this is now in GA. Now, just to recap, many exciting data flows generation 2 improvement has been made, including support for CI/CD and public API, which just went GA at Microsoft Build Conference this week. Now, we hear loud and clear from many of you as you work with different items in a Fabric workspace, and you want to be able to multitask between the different items in the workspace. Now that is supported as well. We continuously make improvements on the authoring experience for Dataflow Gen2, and now you can click Save or Save As, right? And that helps you capture the state of the data flows as per how you edited today. Now let us take a look at the demo for Dataflow Gen2.
Here we are in our Contoso Outdoors workspace, where we have a task flow set up to prep, transform, orchestrate, and visualize data. Let's start by creating a new data flow. And right away, you'll notice something new. This workspace is integrated with folders, making it easier to organize and navigate Data Factory items. Source control is also enabled, and we'll see that in action shortly. Let's click New and create a Dataflows Gen2 item. Right away, we can see that this data flow will have Git integration enabled and support parameterized invocation via public APIs. Let's give it a name and hit Create. Now, inside the Data Flows editor, we've introduced a few enhancements to improve the transformation experience. First, a streamlined toolbar. We've reduced it to a single line for a cleaner, more focused workspace. If you prefer the previous view, you can always toggle the ribbon back. Second, a Save As button, one of the top requests from our community. You can now save a data flow with automatically publishing and refreshing the data behind the scenes. And third, multitasking support. You can now open multiple items at the same time. When I open an item, a tab is pinned to the left navigation bar, so I can switch between my workspace and other resources, like querying my Contoso Outdoors SQL database without losing my place. So let's skip ahead, and you'll see that we've already brought in some tables and applied transformations. Now let's save our data flow to the workspace. Since Git integration is enabled, we can see the newly created data flow is marked as uncommitted. By clicking Source Control, we can view what's changed, add a commit message, and hit Commit. Within seconds, our changes are committed and everything is up to date. If I navigate to my DevOps environment, you'll see individualized folders for each of the items. If I navigate to the new data flow that I just created and synced, you'll see all the relevant mashup and metadata files here. Now that I've synced our data, we have the option to refresh it directly from here. But now we've integrated the new schedule experience. Just like pipelines, I can now schedule to run this data flow every few minutes, every hour, daily, etc. And I could give it granular controls like the frequency of refreshes and start and end times as well, all integrated in a unified experience. The last feature I want to show you is how we can enable users to easily save an existing Dataflows Gen1 as a Gen2 native data flow. We have a new Save As experience that enables easy migration, all with just a couple of clicks. All I have to do is go to my Dataflow Gen1 that I have in my workspace, and then I'll see an option called Save As Dataflow Gen2. You can optionally provide it a name, and then we'll hit Create. Soon you'll see a new Dataflow Gen2 native item created based on the copy of the queries from the Gen1 data flow. Returning to the workspace, we can now see two data flows, the original Gen1 data flow and the new Gen2 data flow.
Just a recap are some of the exciting innovations happening in the Dataflows Gen2 space. And now it supports CI/CD, multitasking, and much more. Now, lots of exciting things that's coming in the next few months for Dataflows Gen2, including support for new data sources, right, that's enabled by fast copy, public APIs with SPN support, and we're going to continue to infuse AI in all aspects of data flows, from helping you create new custom column using a prompt, new ways for you to understand the error message and be able to have suggestions on how to fix it using the error message assistant, and much more. Now, next, we move on to orchestration. Now, orchestration is top of mind. Today, the Fabric Data Factory orchestration engine runs billions of runs every single month. Well, what is orchestration? We start off with orchestration enabled by no-code data pipelines. Now, that provides you with a very intuitive cloud-based authoring experience where you just drag and drop the set of data activities that you want to stitch together in an orchestration flow. You could be doing data movement. You could be doing data transformation. You could be cleansing your data or building data control flows, right, that has if then else logic. Now, more importantly, after you have built all these pipelines, you might want to trigger it either based on the time or based on events. An example of events would be you might have files being dropped into Azure storage. You might have files being dropped into OneLake, and you want the pipeline to start processing. Now, most importantly, data pipelines in Fabric Data Factory is AI powered with Copilot. Now, the other thing that is top of mind, and we hear you loud and clear in many customer conversations, is, well, no code, code-free data pipelines are great. But there are many of you that are really passionate about code-first approach to doing data orchestration. And Apache Airflow is one of the fast-moving open source project, right, that allows you to do a code-first data orchestration by creation of a DAG using Python code. And so we brought Apache Airflow job into Fabric Data Factory, but more importantly, we provide you with a serverless model that has instant provisioning and automatic scaling of your Airflow cluster. Now, Apache Airflow job is now generally available, and more importantly, we're going to continuously innovate in the orchestration space. One of the top requested feature asks is, well, help us build metadata-driven data integration. And one key ingredient to be able to do metadata-driven data integration is support for parameters. I'm so excited to share that parameter support is now available in Dataflows and pipelines, and that allows you to build a metadata-driven pipeline where you could iterate based on the set of values that comes from a data store. More importantly, as you build a metadata-driven data integration solution, if you will, you can also specify the connection to be used in the pipeline using parameters. Now, let us take a look at what are metadata-driven pipelines and how we can leverage this newly introduced parameter support in both data flows and pipelines.
This is a metadata-driven pipeline that seamlessly moves my product order data through the medallion architecture in OneLake at petabyte scale. A common challenge in data processing is dynamically handling different inputs, and I can use parameterization to make my workflows fully flexible. I've created a parameter in my pipeline that references my SQL database connection. And going into my copy activity, I can create a dynamic connection that references that same parameter. No more static connections, and I can parameterize them effortlessly. If I open the expression builder, I can simply select my predefined parameter, and just like that, my connections are dynamic and easily configurable. Next, I've integrated a Dataflow activity to handle transformations. Let's open it up and see how parameterization makes it even more powerful. In this Dataflow, I'm transforming products orders data by grouping orders by region. My goal is to create a table in OneLake for each region. Instead of hard-coding regions, I can make this dynamic using parameters. I've defined a region parameter which dynamically filters data by the region. The default value is Eastern, so my query currently filters for Eastern orders. When I use this parameter in my orders by region query, the filter icon indicates that the query dynamically adjusts based on the input. Since my destination is a SQL database, region-specific tables automatically appear there. Let's hit save and see how we can leverage this new parameter from within a pipeline. If I go back to my pipeline and configure my Dataflow activity, I can see that after selecting my Dataflow, I have a new section to input the parameters. Here, I can input my region parameter, and I'll use the expression builder to give it a parameterized value from the get metadata activity. Inside my for each loop, this pipeline will iterate over each region dynamically, processing orders from Eastern, Northern, Southern, and Western regions. Skipping ahead, you can see my pipeline has run successfully. Checking the output, we can see that each region's data was processed separately. First activity, the region is Eastern, second is Southern, and another one is Northern. If I head to my database, I'll see 4 separate tables corresponding to products orders for each region for my tables.
Data-driven data integration solutions and parameter support in data flows and pipeline. Now, the other top ask that we hear a lot is that now that there's support for variable libraries, we want variable libraries to be integrated with the different items in a Fabric workspace. And one of these items is pipelines. And so today, pipeline integrates with variable library, and therefore you can leverage the values that is provided by the variable library in different environments. Now, why is this important? It allows you to get away from hard-coded values with variables and be able to set this value dynamically using what is provided by the variable library in each of these environments. Now, let's take a look at using variable libraries in pipelines.
Now, let's move beyond data processing and explore how to manage different deployment environments seamlessly. As my data flows across development, tests, and production environments, I need a way to automatically adjust values based on the workspace I'm working with. Hard-coded settings won't cut it, and this is where variable libraries come in. Now, I can define global variables that dynamically adjust based on my environment. Let's see how this works. I've already created my variable library here, and I've created 4 variables that I've defined values to across my different environments. Right now, my dev stage is active as a default stage, but I can easily switch to test or production as needed. Now, let's see how these variables work inside a data pipeline. In the pipeline editor, I have a new section for library variables. Here, I created a reference by defining a name, selecting my variable library, choosing a variable, and specifying its type. I've referenced all my key variables, making them instantly available for my pipeline configurations. I'll go ahead and dynamically reference them in my connection paths, ensuring that it dynamically updates for each environment. Now, let's save and run this pipeline. Skipping ahead, you can see that my output automatically reflects the dev stage values. The folder is correctly set to Contoso Dev, confirming that my variable library is working perfectly. Now, let's see this in action within a CI/CD pipeline. Going back to my deployment pipeline, I have 3 stages: development, test, and production. Let's deploy all my items from dev to test, and you'll notice that my variable library and pipeline are now available in the test environment. Here is where the magic happens. I'll open my variable library in the test environment and activate the test value set in my variable library. Now, without modifying my pipeline at all, when I go run my pipeline, which I've already done here, the file path automatically updates to the test environments folder, Contoso Test and File Path. This means no more manual updates when moving between environments. Variable libraries make CI/CD deployments truly seamless and scalable, creating powerful end-to-end data solutions.
Was a metadata-driven pipeline leveraging values that's coming from a variable library in different environments. Now, from an orchestration roadmap perspective, lots are available today. Triggers, Apache Airflow are all GA. But more importantly, we continuously push on integration with many different parts of Fabric. For example, user data function. Now, in addition, based on your ask, we grew the number of activities supported in pipelines from 40 to 80, and now 120 activities are supported in a data factory pipeline. Now, the orchestration roadmap and what is coming soon is really exciting. We continuously listen to your feedback, all the feedback that you share with us in ideas, in customer calls, and community forums. Many of these are now work in progress, and we'll get it to you in the next few months. Now, next we switch to unifying data in OneLake. Now, today, Fabric provides you with cross-cloud shortcuts. At the same time, it also allows you to do database mirroring by creating a reflection of an entire database in OneLake. Now, from a unifying data in OneLake perspective, many data sources are supported today and generally available across shortcut and database mirroring. Whether it's Azure SQL DB, whether it's connecting to Google Cloud Storage, Amazon S3, and more. Now today, across shortcut and mirroring, you have mirroring for Azure Cosmos DB, Azure PostgreSQL, Databricks Catalog, a shortcut to Databricks Catalog, and mirroring for Azure SQL MI. Now, what we're really excited to share with you and we brought to market this week is mirroring for SQL Server, earlier version of SQL Server, and the most exciting, mirroring for SQL Server 2025. In addition, we also support Azure Blob Storage. Now, what is really coming soon, and many of this is right now in private preview, so reach out to us if you're interested to try it out in private preview. It is mirroring support for Oracle DB and Google BigQuery. Now, the other top ask is really mirroring for data sources behind a firewall. Now, today, you could use an on-premises data gateway or a VNet data gateway, and both of this now works with database mirroring. And what does that mean? It allows you to then connect the data that's on-premises. It allows you to connect the data that's in multi-cloud, and it allows you to connect data securely using a VNet data gateway. Now, mirroring data sources support using VNet data gateway today is available Snowflake, Azure SQL DB, and Azure SQL MI. Now, let us take a look at mirroring for Oracle databases.
Directly from my Fabric homepage, I'll go ahead and create a new item. Just as how other mirroring sources are displayed, you will now see a tile from Mirroring for Oracle show up here as well. I'll go ahead and click on it, and immediately I'll be able to either create a new connection or use an existing one. I'll create a new one. And here you'll see that I have a field to select my on-premises data gateway. I'll go ahead and select my on-premises data gateway and proceed. After a few seconds, you'll see all the tables inside my Oracle database. By default, all tables are selected, but you can choose specific ones if needed. I'll go ahead and filter my data and bring in 5 tables, and you can see a preview of the first few rows on the right-hand side. After giving my destination database a name, we'll start the replication process with a single click, and that's it. The initial snapshot may take some time, but within minutes, the Monitor tab shows a replication in progress. After refreshing, we can see all tables successfully replicated along with the details like row count, replication status, and completion timestamps. If I navigate to my SQL Analytics endpoint, I can go ahead and verify that all my data has been replicated over. If I click on the tables, customer, I can see a preview of the rows here. Now, we constantly have change data such as inserts, updates, and deletes occurring on my Oracle tables, and we want to see them propagated over into Fabric. I'll go to my Oracle database and insert 5 rows to my customers table. After running the commands and verifying that they have been added, I'll go back to Fabric and verify the changes have been replicated over. If I go back to my SQL Analytics endpoint, I can see that those rows went from 103 to 108, confirming that the rows have been replicated over.
Reach out if you're interested to try it out. Now, the other thing that we hear a lot in a lot of these conversations around database mirroring is, well, not only do you want to mirror your data, you want to be able to consume some of these changes in your mirrored database so that you can leverage it in a medallion architecture. And so today, we're really excited to share that now mirrored database support Delta change feed. And that unlocks downstream processing, and you could then leverage this as part of the whole flow for your medallion architecture. Now, let us take a look at what does it mean to track changes in mirrored database using Delta change feeds.
So what if we want to track the exact changes to our data, whether rows were inserted, updated, or deleted? We're thrilled to announce that Mirroring now publishes Delta change feeds, giving you full visibility into every modification. This unlocks seamless integration with the medallion architecture, allowing you to process only the changes you need while filtering out the rest. With notebooks, you can see what changes have been made with your mirror. The first command shows the snapshot of the data, which were the initial rows that we replicated over. And in the output, it shows these rows were inserted, with a column showing what type of operation was done. In this case, an insert. Now, the second command shows the new incremental changes, which were the 5 rows that we changed. You can see in the Output tab that we did 2 inserts, 2 updates, and 1 delete. And in the table, you can see which row ID was affected, making it easier to see what change happened within your data.
Change feed in your mirrored database. Thank you, for all the feedback that got us to this point. And so next, finally, we're going to close off with AI-powered intelligence. And just to recap what we have seen so far, we showed you new capabilities across data movement, orchestration, data transformation, in addition to the connectivity roadmap and how we're going to continuously bring new authentication methods and new support for data sources and destinations as part of connectivity. Now, one thing that's really exciting is Copilot for Data Factory across everything that's in Data Factory is now generally available. And therefore, whether you're using Copilot in Dataflows or whether you're using Copilot in pipelines, all these are GA capabilities that we hope that Copilots will be able to work side by side with you to make you more productive, but more importantly, to help you in tasks that you, in other cases, will have to go and search on the web, etc. Now, Copilot can be your companion, right, to help you to be successful when creating your data integration solutions. Now, one thing that we added as part of AI-powered intelligence in Fabric Data Factory is Error Assistant. And what are Error Assistants? Error Assistants allows you to say, well, if my pipeline or data flows fail, how do I find out more and how do I understand this really long, messy error message? And therefore, with Error Assistant, now you can then find deep insights into what this error is and what are the possibilities and suggestions for improvements. Now, let's take a look at Copilot for Data Factory across pipeline data flows and what is Error Assistant.
After creating a new pipeline, I can quickly launch Copilot and provide a natural language description of the task I wish to achieve. For this task, I'll select a NoSQL data source in Cosmos DB and Bronze Lakehouse as the destination. Through IntelliSense, Copilot automatically identifies the metadata and enables easy selection of existing connections or creation of new ones. I can also instruct Copilot to send an email to me in case the pipeline run fails. And just like that, we have a fully functional data pipeline created in seconds. We can preview the data to validate the data source. Now, let's use contextual prompt in the Copilot pane to run the pipeline. And once again, in just a few seconds, the pipeline has successfully completed the run, and I can see that in the monitoring tab. Let's quickly validate that the data has indeed landed in my destination lakehouse, and there it is. Copilot enhances not only pipeline orchestration, but also monitoring capabilities. Using Copilot's Error Assistant, I can understand the issues more clearly, and Copilot explains errors and provides contextual troubleshooting assistance. Here is a pipeline that has failed, and an icon appears next to the fail activity. Clicking this icon opens a window where Copilot displays a quick summary of the issues, along with the guidance on how to fix it, making troubleshooting easier. In this case, Copilot explains the issue was with the user access token and then provides a link to additional documentation for further assistance, which is extremely useful in collaborative scenarios involving complex data pipelines. Copilot's Error Assistant helps you quickly identify and resolve issues with actionable recommendations.
Data Factory. Now, we're really excited to continuously work with the community on improving what you need in Copilot for Data Factory. Now, the last thing I wanted to share is we hear you loud and clear is, well, you are bringing data from all these different data sources. You want to be able to write this to an output destination that is SharePoint. And so we're excited to share that Dataflow Gen2 output destination now writes to SharePoint, and it writes it as SharePoint files in a CSV format. Now let's take a look.
Let's see how we can set the default data destination for a data flow to SharePoint. Here in my data flow, I can either select default data destination from the ribbon or configure it directly in my query. After selecting the icon, SharePoint now appears as an option alongside our other destinations. I'll click into it, provide the SharePoint site URL, authenticate the connection, and proceed. The file name is automatically set, and on the left, you'll see all the available folders to store my data. I'll select my sales folder, hit next, and keep the default column mapping. And just like that, my default destination is now set to SharePoint. I can confirm this in my query and at the bottom right-hand side. Now, let's hit save and run. And after a few seconds, I can navigate to my SharePoint folder where my data has successfully landed. Adding SharePoint as a default destination opens up even more possibilities for further analysis and reporting.
To SharePoint. Now, I think that's it. Today, we share a few lots of exciting product innovations in Fabric Data Factory, including what's new, and more importantly, give you a glimpse into the roadmap ahead. And we look forward to work with the community, to listen to your product feedback, but also to work with you very closely on evolving what's possible with Fabric Data Factory. Now, to close off, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone. Thank you for listening to this live stream, but more importantly, working with us together in order to make Fabric Data Factory the best ETL and data integration tool in the market. Thank you, everyone.